hop on my bike, the world gets a lot more quiet. The sound of the dirt when my tires really hit a corner, the smell of the trees during the fall, it just makes me feel alive when I ride. My name is Danica Fife, and I'm a writer and content creator. I create mountain biking videos to show progression, tips, and also to be relatable. When I was looking for a job in the bike industry, I felt a little bit lost. Outside of working at a shop and racing, I didn't know where to go. I realized I couldn't go the traditional route. I really had to search and find some role models of women that were in the bike industry, just because they weren't really in the limelight. It took a lot of effort to find these women that were doing these careers that weren't in the norm. They can inspire so many other women to get involved in the industry.
My name is Alicia Leggett. I write articles on Pink Bike, and I live in Bellingham, Washington. Mountain biking is such a good opportunity for practicing resilience, getting back up again, believing in yourself. Once I found mountain biking, I was really engaged with it and just wanted to make my whole life about mountain biking. When I was in college, I studied journalism. Over time, just felt like writing about biking would make a lot of sense for me. Everyone has a story. You can learn something from every single person you meet. My personal story centers a lot on learning to cope with mental health issues through the years, having a lot of pretty high highs and pretty low lows. I think for a long time, I've been really, really petrified of failure. It scared me to even consider trying something that I might not excel at, which ended up being pretty paralyzing in a lot of ways. I think mountain biking was kind of a safe place to learn to fail a little bit. It's fair to say I owe my life to bikes in so many ways. Mountain biking can be so therapeutic. Kind of my thing. It allows you to connect with people in a way that can be really vulnerable. You can be trying new things and failing with people. And then there's also just a piece of connecting your mind to your body. And all of those things, I think, combine into what might be one of the best possible mental health packages around. My role in the bike industry is pretty multifaceted, I think. I'm trying to tell a lot of the stories that show who the people are, not just what they're doing on bikes. What's so compelling to most of us about the bike world is the connections we make and the ways that those relationships shape us. I get to choose what voices get heard, and that role has some weight. To anyone coming up through the industry and wanting to figure out where they fit in, just be yourself. Creating your own role is the way that you're going to create the industry you want to see in the future.
My name is Linnea. I live in Falls City, Washington, and I'm the COO at Fluid Ride. I started riding just over 9 years ago. My favorite part about mountain biking is those moments of just like letting it rip. It's just this endless challenge. It's almost addictive. You always have something new to learn, and you always have something to improve on. It is really cool that every day you go out there, you might ride something new, you might conquer something new, you might ride it better. Maybe you have a bad day. Those emotional challenges are really gratifying. Initially, I got a job at a corporate wellness company. It was really stable, it was really predictable, the 9-to-5 style, and it had this very linear career trajectory. And then the owner of Fluid Ride approached me and asked if I could help them promote some tours. And I realized a lot of my business skills were actually very helpful to his company. Simon offered me a job. I had to think about, is this the right move for me? I had invested 10 years of my life, a lot of money into the degrees, the training, the education, and this is a great path. But I realized I'm at a place in my life where I can afford to take risks. And I knew I could go back. I thought about it, ran some numbers, and took the job. What I do impacts the next generation of women. I don't want to take that for granted at all. We are not competitors, we are allies, and so just build each other up. There's so much more we can do to just normalize women in mountain biking.
Injuries are definitely part of what I do. It's bound to happen at some point. It's super frustrating. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do this event that I had planned in this trip and also just not get to ride my bike, which is the thing I love to do the most. My strategy is always to just express my creative side as much as I can, because I feel like that helps get through an injury. My name's Hannah Bergemann, and I am a freeride mountain biker living in Bellingham, Washington. I've always sort of been attracted to riding gnarlier stuff and hitting jumps. Free riding, there's a lot of room for creativity in the way that you ride. I started working at a bike shop to support my bike buying habits. But at the same time was developing myself as an athlete and a rider. I was progressing really rapidly. What started out as just doing a few events and riding in my free time and working in the shop eventually turned into me having like a full-time career at a bike company and riding professionally. I was still doing a lot of racing, but then in my free time I was just riding gnarly stuff, hitting jumps, like that's all I wanted to do. Hitting big jumps doesn't necessarily help you be a good racer. I got invited to Formation. It's like a women's free ride progression camp in Virgin, Utah. My riding got highlighted in a way that felt very natural and what I wanted people to see me doing versus a race result, for example. I was loving it. More opportunities started coming up, and it kind of just escalated. I got approached by Transition Bikes to be an athlete for them as well as a team member on their marketing team. It's been a challenging and interesting experience being a woman in a very male-dominated industry. I definitely struggled a little bit in hindsight with some sexism. When I started working in the bike shop, I was the only woman. Because I was the only woman in that space, people would just automatically assume they're better than you. But say, oh, I want to go ride this trail. Oh, that trail's pretty gnarly. You probably should be careful on that one. Or I would want to drop into a trail and then someone would, drop it in front of me because they would just assume they're better than me. And like, you kind of get used to it. And then on the other side, it affects you. A few negative experiences definitely did not deter me or outshine the majority of the positive experiences I've had. A strategy that I find the most effective is just kind of proving people wrong. There are so many amazing women that are pushing the sport right now. The mountain bike industry will be a much better place with more women in it.
I'm not a super competitive person by any means. I'm definitely a mountain biker who's in it for the fun, community, and friendship. My name is Keely Shannon. I live here in Bellingham and I own Groundkeeper Custom. I have been mountain biking since I was about 12 years old. It's a thing that is part of my life that I could never see my life without. The Bellingham mountain bike culture is incredibly amazing and supportive, especially being a business owner in the culture and having a lot of other small business owners. It's been a fun community to be a part of. I was a senior in college and I had secured an internship with a big bike company and then worked my way into a full-time position. I can't imagine where I'd be without that initial job in the bike industry. As a young female coming in with a lot of middle-aged men, I was working my ass off to try and work my way up in the company. And I had an ally who knew pay and just said, FYI, your coworkers of the same job title are making double what you are. That was a really hard thing to learn, and it kind of turned me off. So I decided to leave and become self-employed. Starting your own business is really exciting, but it's also incredibly scary. You don't have a consistent income. A couple years ago, I literally had nothing in the bank account and I just drove to Seattle and spent 2 days selling fenders to bike shops. To me, that's worth it. Going through those hardships and coming out on the other side is amazing. I love not having a ceiling. It's nice to just make what I want and sell it how I want. There are a lot of times where we have like a giant order come through with 500 fenders and we have to get it done in 2 weeks and it's kind of stressful. And I like to just remind all of my coworkers and myself that at the end of the day, we are just printing fenders with dogs and babies on them. Becoming a mother has been a very wild ride. I've experienced more emotions than I ever knew were possible. As a business owner, it's been a little bit harder. I think finding that balance between life and work has been the biggest struggle for me. The first few months were really hard. I kind of always was feeling like I wasn't doing anything to the best ability. And now I feel like I'm starting to find that balance. It's taken about a year and some awesome childcare. As a woman looking to get into the industry, the big thing is to just hold your ground. It is a male-dominated industry. Not sure that that's going to change anytime soon. So be vocal and try not to get too discouraged. Take that as fuel and don't let that stuff get you down.
There has never been a better time to be a woman in the mountain bike industry. There are a lot more opportunities, and we can see that women are succeeding. Any woman that wants to get a job in the bike industry but might be intimidated, go for it. Take the risk. You never know what's going to come of it.